How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of our Lorbeck Luxury Cars Friday Drive. This week, something a little bit different. I'm going to pick 3 Mercedes-Benz cars that I'm a massive fan of that we have in our showroom. I'm going to take a look at each one of them. First up, we've got this 2018 Mercedes-Benz E63S. It's got the 4-litre V8 bi-turbo engine, all-wheel drive as well, which is, for me personally, is a fantastic system on the road. And I've driven them plenty on the track, and trust me, these things are no slouches. In comparison to the C63, I find them a lot more comfortable. The C63 is super aggressive and loud, whereas this has all the performance, but also all the comfort at the same time. You kind of get the best of both worlds with it. When you sit into the interior, you can notice there's a little bit more space. Now, with this being the 4-door, the rear seats seem to have a lot more space. It's easier to get in and out as well. You've got this beautiful flat bottom steering wheel, great driving position in these cars. You can sit nice and low, get your vision up. You've got the head-up display, which is a really important feature. And with Mercedes-Benz, you always have incredible tech. You have the big long screen that we've got here, the AMG seats, all the significations on there, the lighting in here as well. And it's a really comfortable space where you feel yourself just so comfortable as you're driving, even when you're in Sport Plus mode, which can't be said for some of the other models where it's a bit more of a performance vehicle at its origin, and this kind of marries up a bit of both. As you can see, probably the lights changing here. We're going to start the car up as well, and you can just start to hear that V8 engine. Now, it does flick between the 6 cylinders and 8 cylinders as and when. If I was to change the drive mode, you can hear the exhaust open up now, and I'll change it into Sport Plus mode. It will always use 8 cylinders, whereas if you're in comfort, let's say you're driving along the motorway, well, it will just dip in and close a couple of those off to try and save fuel, keep that comfortability within the car. But then when you want all the power, you get it straight away. And you hear that pop and bang, I love it. Finished with our E63. Now let's move up in the range a little bit, up in price point slightly, but actually we're going to head into the SUV range, and there's no better way than the G63. This one being a 2016 model. We've got the 5.5-litre V8 in the car here. Now, there's something about G-Wagons, it's kind of in the name. They hold a certain status and feeling on the road. You feel like you own it almost when you're driving it. You're so high up. They're actually not as big as you might think. People think they're a large vehicle and be hard to drive, but actually they're so capable. And something I've always been really impressed with these cars, having driven them a lot off-road, these cars were actually made in the beginning for the army. Maybe not quite in the specification we have here, but they are far more capable off-road than they are just driving around the city as well. One other thing about the exterior of these cars is that iconic, classic, just boxy shape that you get with the G-Wagon. And we've got a little bit of signification on the side with the details, but also those pipes on the side, and the roar that these things have with that 5.5-litre is amazing. I've hopped inside. Now, the one thing to remember with a G-Wagon, the doors are still kind of like the army. If you half close it, it's not done. You really got to give it a bit of welly to try and get the door closed, but it feels just right. I don't know why when you're in this environment, it just feels like that's what I need to do rather than have a soft close. In the interior, there's loads of space, as you can imagine, but the vision from the front end was quite a long front end. We've got a fairly big car, is really good. We'll start the car up as well. You can start to hear that noise, that V8, that classic Mercedes-Benz sound, and you can almost be sat at a cafe and you can hear one and you know it's a Mercedes-Benz, right? We've also, just to touch on a few other points, we've got our cycle modes where we can go to Sport Plus and all that sort of thing, but also, importantly, we've got our low range modes as well. So if you are somebody that does some off-roading, you very rarely see them there, but these things are incredible off-road, and they would match nearly anything on the market, and you've got those modes just in case you really do need them. Moving on, just quickly, this is not the same G-Wagon, just I want to specify that. Next up, the beautiful Mercedes-Benz AMG GT-R. Now, these things are unbelievable supercars, and for the money, they're some of the best cars you can buy. This one in the silver, 4-litre V8, all the performance you can ever ask for in a car, and the basis of the GT car that I've been racing this year in the GT3 series. And you can see, if you were to pair the photos between the two of them, where that DNA comes from. And the reason why that Mercedes-Benz wins all over the world is because it's based off of this car, and that's what makes it so special, and that's why these things are the absolute best on the road. One thing I want to do just real quick is pop the bonnet on this thing, because the engine bay in these things is super, super impressive. Have a look at that. Now, it's covered up slightly, but the one thing, there's two things actually that I've just noticed. The first thing is the carbon fiber here. I just think that's awesome. But also, this plate here, handcrafted by this person, whoever it may be, and there's something so special about an AMG engine that's handcrafted by someone, and it's one person in particular, and it's signed, sealed and delivered to every different customer. And I think that's such a special touch from Mercedes-Benz. That's why this segment on these cars is so impressive, because it's little things like that that go such a long way. Just wanted to sit in the interior for a second. First thing we're going to do, of course, is start the car up. Hear the noise of it. We're in race mode, obviously, because why would you be in anything else? There's a couple of key things that I want to talk about in this car. One, the seating position is fantastic. We sat there, I feel like I'm in a race car almost. The other thing is this dial here. Got a comfort mode, and in comfort mode these things are actually, well, they're comfortable. That's the whole point. It softens the suspension, doesn't give you all the power all at once, but then when you want to get racy, that race mode's really important. One other thing, I'm going to turn the screen on real quick, is our traction control button. Now, this dial allows me to turn the traction up and down. So when we are on a racetrack, I can change it to whether I want it to be on or off or into sport. It really depends, but not a lot of cars that have something like that. So when you do take it on the circuit and you want to have some fun with it and you start to progress your driving, the car's not going to hold you back all the time. It's not on or off. You can tailor it to how you want to do it. And much like my race car, I have a dial just like this in a race car. Looks slightly different, but it does the same thing. Different phases of traction control until it's all the way off. And that's something that I find really, really impressive about this. That's actually a road car. And that's it for this week's Friday drive. Something a little bit different, but it showcases the range of Mercedes-Benz cars that we have, but also how incredible they all are. Different price points, different styles of cars, and how much we really, really enjoy them. Now make sure you keep tuning into our Friday drives. Let us know, have a look on our website, which cars you'd like to see us feature here at Lorbeck. And make sure you follow us, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.